if you have an exclusive and elite playmaker on the outside in John Ross.
Always away.
Got him again, Ross! Ross, like a boss, touchdown!
That's what you have to be afraid of. That guy right there.
Wide open down the left sideline, it's Ross, and he's nowhere near anybody. Gonna take it all the way for a touchdown. Wow!
We knew Washington's John Ross was fast, but we didn't know he was 4.22 record fast. Ross ran an NFL Combine record of a 4.22 in the 40. And instead of wearing the Adidas shoes that would have won him a private island, he chose to wear Nikes. His reasoning, he doesn't swim really well and doesn't own a boat. His reward was a shoe endorsement deal with Nike. We are just 50 days away till the NFL draft. And on that note, we welcome in Mel Kiper Jr. Mel, so how did Ross's record performance affect his draft stock, and what do you think is the best fit for him?
A couple things, Molly. First of all, impressive 40. We knew he could run a 4.3, did at Washington. So you thought it was possible. I highlighted him on ESPN.com previewing the whole combine and who could be the fastest. So it was no surprise, no shock that he did run as well as he did. But the fact that he ran 4.22 with a shoulder that requires surgery, all that ability that you need to run that great 40, your body needs to be 100%. His was not with that shoulder, and that was pretty impressive to me. He was still able to do it. He applied that speed on the field, dynamic receiver, tremendous kick returner. Only 5'10 and a quarter, 188, but you know he can fly. The issue is going to be durability. He had the knee injuries at Washington. He had the shoulder injury as well, which requires surgery. So medically, can he stay healthy durability-wise? If he can, I think you look at right now, Philadelphia at 14, Tampa Bay at 19. Wouldn't Jameis love to have that guy? Could take a top off of defense like John Ross can if he can stay healthy. So I think he solidified a position somewhere in the middle of the first round.
Mel, how does this guy compare to this kid out of Kansas City that plays for Andy Reid right now? Everybody was raving about him throughout this season. How electrifying can John Ross be compared to that guy?
Well, Tyreek Hill was a guy at Oklahoma State, had a great career going. Then he had that serious off-the-field issue, ends up at West Alabama. I think you look at Hill's ability to move him around like they do. Also in the return game, Ross is a kick returner. Ross did have that unfortunate fumble against Alabama in the final four games, 7-7 game. You're at midfield, you can't be turning it over. He did. That led to a field goal. The rest is history. Alabama rolled. They could have gotten a lead maybe, Washington, at that point. They were close to getting in the field goal range. So you got to take better care of the football. He does have small hands, but I think you look at John Ross as a guy that for the right team, which I think would be perfect, would be Tampa Bay. They had the big guys. Now they need a guy who can be that vertical stretch guy, that ability to get the ball in his hands. He can be dynamic after the catch, help you in the kick return game. So I agree. I think he could give you the versatility of a Tyreek Hill, and certainly if he can stay healthy, he would really help that Tampa Bay offense.
Mel, in a league starving for quarterbacks, teams are starving for them. You got a guy in Deshaun Watson that put up numbers personally, whose team won against basically an NFL defense in an amazing all-time come-from-behind type performance, who then chooses to go to the Combine when maybe another guy wouldn't, and then kills it at the Combine, which, what else does he have to show? And yet Mel Kiper says he goes where in this draft?
Well, I think he's in the mix, Max, to be the second pick. And I think you have to look at it and say, okay, he did finish strong. And I said going in, the Final Four would dictate how he was going to be viewed. He had a great Final Four for the second straight year. He's incredible against Alabama's defense and Nick Saban's defense. Okay? Then he goes to the Combine, he threw the ball well. But if you go back to the beginning of midseason, he was considered a second or third round pick then for a reason. He was struggling in the pocket, making some bad decisions, inaccurate throws, and he had Mike Williams, who he didn't have last year for the majority of the season. He had everybody intact on offense and Mike Williams returning and still was struggling. That's why he didn't win the Heisman Trophy, guys. Well, at the end of the year, he should have, but he didn't because of that early to midseason struggles. So you have to factor it all together. We're all raving about Deshaun Watson. Keep in mind, second or third round going into the Final Four. So did 2 games all of a sudden make him the number 2 pick in the draft? It possibly did. Did 1 game make Vince Young the 3rd pick in the draft? Yes, it did. How did that work out for Tennessee? So you got to be careful here not to elevate too much an overdraft. And we know at the end of the day, Trubisky and Watson are going to be majorly overdrafted.
Mel, I want to get into former Oklahoma running back Joe Mixon, who obviously wasn't invited to the Combine. He ran a 4.43 40 today, and according to an NFL Network report, he's privately met now with the Browns, the Bengals, Lions, and the Saints on Tuesday night. Where do you expect him to be drafted?
I thought 3rd round. I heard Bill Polian, who I have great respect for. I think Bill says, hey, you mark it down. He said 2nd round. He wouldn't even count out late first round. So I think when you get to April 27th, after we look at the tape, and if you evaluate how he played, forget everything, just as a player, he's a top 15, top 20 pick. If Fournette and Cook and McCaffrey are, and Kamara from Tennessee is, Mixon is. Look at what he did in those games. He's averaged over 6 yards a carry in 9 games. He caught the ball out of the backfield and made defenses pay. He had a kick return, 97 yards for a touchdown against Ohio State. He is a dynamic player. The serious off-the-field issue is why you have to reconcile all that and say, where do we take him? Right now, based on what Bill Polian said, what I thought, knowing the talent is a first-round, top 15, top 20 talent, he probably does go second round.
Second round?
Mel, let me go back to the quarterbacks with Deshaun Watson in this respect. I'd like you to break down for me the difference between him and Trubisky, why Trubisky would be taken ahead of him, because I'm looking at Deshaun Watson. I want to know, I'm not talking about performance, I'm talking about evaluation in terms of arm strength, height, durability, speed, etc. Break down to me what he's missing that Trubisky has where people would have Trubisky going before him as a quarterback in this first round of the NFL draft.
Here's the deal, Stephen A. Trubisky during the year maintained a higher grade than Watson. He was playing better. Late in the year, Watson, as I say, picked it up. Height, weight, similar, same. Everything's the same physically for these guys. Okay, Watson a little taller. Nothing that's going to make you have a red flag on any of these guys physically and athletically. Arm strength, I think, is pretty equal. Athletic ability, hey, Trubisky can move around. We know Watson can. I think you look at the 1 year as a starter for Trubisky, that's the issue. Guys have not had great success with only 1 year as a starter, and then you factor in that Stanford game. The last time we saw him, he didn't look anything but a big-time NFL quarterback in that game against Stanford. That he couldn't block Solomon Thomas, I get that, but he made some bad decisions, some inaccurate throws, had the careless fumble. He didn't play well. But I think, are you going to hold that against him? I think this. If you draft Trubisky, you have to feel like this. If he had gone back, he'd have been the number 1 pick, lock, stock, and barrel. We know that. We know he's not ready. We know we wish he would have had another year. We got to develop this kid. We don't have to necessarily see him for 3 or 4 years like Aaron Rodgers, but we got to develop him, put redshirt him, not force him in there. And if you handle Trubisky well, you may have something. If you expect him to be Dak Prescott and go out there and play well as a rookie, forget about it. It ain't happening. And I think the same thing for Deshaun Watson, but I would even give Watson more of a chance as a rookie to have success than Trubisky. Long term, I think Trubisky will be better if handled properly.
Yeah, although Watson, as you mentioned, Mel, the bigger the stakes, the better he played. The running backs you brought up, that's very interesting to me that you think Mixon will go in the second round. I figured his draft status would be hurt by, let's say, 2 or 3 rounds because of this video, which is never going away. It's going to live online and in social media forever. And considering how many good backs are in this draft, I figured maybe he'd even go undrafted, be a free agent invitee. But okay, maybe as high as second round. Where do these running backs rank, in your opinion, in terms of when they will be drafted?
Well, Fournette's going to go top 10. Carolina would be obviously a good fit. Dalvin Cook, I think, goes top 15, top 10, somewhere in there. Maybe Cleveland at 12. There are other teams that could use him. Washington if he drops down a bit. McCaffrey is a wild card because he's tremendously versatile. I think Kansas City, Green Bay, late first round would make sense for him. Same thing, one of those 2 teams for Alvin Kamara from Tennessee. Then after those 4, you get into Mixon because he is clearly, after those 4, the next running back to really consider. Nobody else is even in that league. Then you have to say, okay, is ownership going to sign off? Are you going to have to deal with the distraction, all the negative publicity? Kansas City took Tyreek Hill in the 5th round. He had a serious issue at Oklahoma State. He came in, he had a great rookie year, he helped them win a lot of football games. They were celebrating him in Kansas City, cheering and training his name. So at the end of the day, Joe Mixon, Bill Polian said second round. I trust Bill. I thought third round. I'll lean maybe to second round now, but I think he goes certainly day 2 of the draft. Adam Schefter echoed those sentiments this morning as well.
Mel,
looks like Friday night, day 2, he goes second or third round.
Mel, real quickly, why should the Jets take Leonard Fournette at number 6? I know he's an absolute stud. Durability could be a question mark, and the fact that the Jets just seem to be throwing away everything. Is that a good fit for him? Is that a good selection for them to make instead of grabbing a quarterback?
Well, they've gone on record, Stephen A., saying they're picks for sale. They're going to trade out. And I agree. If you're the Jets, you've got so many need areas. I've said it a few years ago, glorified expansion team. That's what they are. They got to get out of there, move down, try to accumulate picks. So I don't necessarily think right now they'll be picking at 6 anyway. Fournette, maybe Carolina, somebody like that. But you got to get somebody the Jets. So, hey, Fournette, a defense, you can give them anybody. They need help at a variety of positions.
Mel Kiper Jr. dropping the knowledge as always with the draft just 50 days away in Philly. First Take will be there. We cannot wait for that. Mel, always a pleasure. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Molly.